Number 31, do I need a birth plan? Snaps queen. Yes, you should have a birth plan. You should have a birth plan. You should do it. You should get a birth plan. And not because we need to have a checklist of all the things we're going to accomplish during birth or that we cannot have happen during birth, but it is so valuable. If I could go back in time and tell my go with the flow self, hey girl, you need a birth plan, not because you can control birth, but because you need to understand birth and people need to know what you want out of your birth. You need to know what you want out of your birth. I would go back and do that because it's a lot more challenging to steamroll someone's birth plan if they have one versus if they don't have one and you just get steamrolled. Speaking from experience, but if you have a plan and you know what you want, why you want different things, because a big thing for me is what I've seen with clients and just women when you hear birth stories is your why can carry you through even when your how changes. And so your why really matters, and that is the heart of your birth plan. It's not to make sure that you do XYZ position or you do this or you're for sure pushing like this, but it's so your why is protected and you know what your why is. For example, is for my daughter, I want to have a redemptive birth experience where I feel present, powerful, and in control in the moment. That is my why. I want to feel present in the moment. I want it to be redemptive and empowering. I want to feel like I am in control and can make decisions and call the shots. So that's how I train for birth. I talk about training for birth like you're training for a marathon. I've never run a marathon, but I've watched other people train for a marathon. And so you want to put in the intentionality and the effort, make a plan, know why you're doing what you're doing, so that even if your how changes, you still know what your why is. And that is where birth trauma can come out of, is when we don't have a why, we don't know why we want certain things, or we do, and our why is not cared for. Even, I've had women who have a C-section and felt fine and good after. There's no trauma. Just because you have a C-section doesn't mean it was a traumatic birth. But I've also had women who have had a physiological birth and there was trauma involved because of how they felt during their birth, because they weren't real with themselves. They didn't know why they wanted this kind of birth. And so their decisions were kind of minimized or their voice was quieted. And that is where they came of a place of trauma, feeling like they weren't respected, what they said didn't matter. So really creating a birth plan so you know what your why is and you know what your big yeses and your big nos. And then you also understand what kind of interventions might be presented to you, whether you're at home, a birth center, or the hospital. If I would have known what all interventions the hospital had, I would have made a plan for what I want and what I didn't want. And then I could have reverse engineered from there and said, okay, how do I not get there? How do I make sure I go a different direction? That would have been really valuable. So sit down with your birth partner, yourself, make a birth plan, understand why you want certain things, why you don't want certain things. I've got a free birth prep kit, and you can there go through what kind of birth plan you want, why you want things, why you don't want things. It is a great place to start. So yes, I encourage you, make a birth plan.